For as long as I can remember, I have known that I was adopted. When I was little, my mom would read me stories about adopted families and tell me that I was chosen. And I had childhood fantasies of my biological mother being famous or a princess or a queen. And my desire to learn more about my biological family waxed and waned over the years. When I moved back up to Glens Falls when I was 21, I developed a renewed interest in learning about my family history. So I wrote a letter to Rensselaer County Social Services, the organization that arranged my adoption, and requested medical information or any information that they would send me. It seemed like it took forever for me to hear from them. I think it was about a month, and I received about 5 pages of non-identifying information and a timeline that started about midway through my biological mother's pregnancy and up until my delivery and the little bit of time I was with her after that, and then in foster care. And the timeline and the information ended right around the time I was placed with my family in October of 1969. In 1993, right around, in the summer of 93, right around August, I was pregnant with my own son and 23 years old, and woke up one morning and opened up the Post-Star to read it like I normally did, and read the main section and the local section and some of the comics, and then tossed the paper aside. This day was a little bit different though because the cable was out, so I was bored, and about an hour later I picked up the paper again to keep reading because there was nothing else to do. So I read the sports section and the classifieds, and in the personal section, among the ads for heavenly healers and weight loss and smoking cessation, I saw something that stuck right out at me. And it was an ad that said, female born May 26, 1969. If you desire contact with your birth mother, to write to this P.O. box in Del Mar, New York. And I read it again, and then I read it again, and I thought, well, I'm a female born on May 26, 1969, and I'm adopted, but there's got to be other women that are adopted and born on this day, and I didn't know what to think. So I took the newspaper, and I just couldn't believe that it could necessarily be me. So I took the paper, and I went to my mom's house in Lake George, and I showed it to her, and I asked her what she thought, and she knew right away that it was me, just knew. And she said, I haven't told you this before, but when you were born, your biological mother gave you the name Jennifer Rebecca after an old Barbra Streisand song. And you could write to this person and you could request that they place another ad with that information in it, and then you would know. And I said, that's a really good idea. And I went to the Hallmark store and bought a card with Alice in Wonderland on the front of the card, and wrote my note and made my request and put it in the mail and waited. Fortunately, I didn't have to wait as long as I had to wait for social services to get back to me. It was about 3 days, and there was a second ad in the Post-Star that said, Jennifer Rebecca, Rensselaer County Adoption, please write again, Karen. So I knew that this was me, and it was a lot of information at that time, and I was also pregnant with my son, so I don't really remember all the exact details right after that, but I know Karen and I, Karen visited that December of that year, and when she came to the house, she brought a baby blanket that she made for Zach, and she also brought a baby blanket that she made for me. And over the years, we've talked and developed a relationship, and she's shared stories of her life with me, and sent pictures and made little handmade gifts that are very special, and sent a lot of information about my family tree. photos that she's taken, or family photos, all really meaningful things to have. Because of this, my fantasies have really become a reality, and I've learned things like the first time I heard her laugh, it was my laugh that came out of her mouth. And when I see pictures of her from years ago, it's my curly hair on the top of her head. And I've also developed an interest in learning more, making a family tree on Ancestry.com. So about 3 years, I've been doing that, and about 3 years ago I did a genetic test and on Ancestry, and I've actually connected with more relatives that are genetically related to me. Some live as far away as England, and they one woman is planning a family reunion for next year in England that I would like to go to, and so those childhood fantasies about finding a princess or a queen that I may be related to could come true.